And so what needs to happen here is we're going to set the stream signal to an object that has the value that we just got from the stream. And then we need to resolve this promise with the stream signal. So the first thing we're going to need is a place to store our subscription. And we want to subscribe, and I'm intentionally separating the declaration here because there will be some logic we want to do kind of beforehand, some utilities. So we're going to call the loader function with our request, and this is going to return an observable for that particular request, and we can subscribe to it. And when we subscribe to it, we'll pass our subscriber object, and we'll have to deal with a few things, right? We'll have a next function when a new value is produced. We'll have a error function when an error is produced, and we'll have a complete, right? What happens when the stream completes. So all three of these things will kind of have to map to returning through the stream. And so we need a promise that we can resolve to return. We want to create a promise that will resolve when we get the first value. And there's a really useful utility now in promise. It's not in all browsers yet, but there's polyfills for it and stuff. Promise with resolvers. So we do this, promise, resolve, and optionally reject, but we're not going to use reject. And so what this does, I don't know if you've ever done this thing before, right? Like let resolve, and then you like const promise is new promise, and you take the resolve and reject here. And so this is kind of the promise constructor, right? You pass a function that gets called with your resolve and reject, and you say, well, like, let's call this R, right? And then I want to be able to do things outside this promise, so I have to assign the resolve function outside the function when this gets called, and now I have a promise that I can like return and then call resolve later. Promise.with resolvers is a really clean way of doing that. So what this means is from our resource here, we can return the promise that we created, and so that will tell the resource under the hood, hey, you need to return values. You know, this is going to be your promise of the signal that you're returning. So let's actually do that, and we can add a type to this to kind of more clearly indicate what we're returning. So we're going to return a promise of a signal, and this signal is going to tell the resource what the current value of the stream is. And either that is going to be a value from our observable, or eventually the observable might fail, might emit an error, and so we need to be able to tell it, hey, there was an error on the stream, and that's the latest kind of state of the stream. So the way we do this is by returning an object that either has a value of the type that we're interested in, or some error that occurred. Yeah, so now we have a promise that we can return, but we need to resolve this promise with something, right? And we want to resolve this promise whenever we get a value from the stream. And so the best way to do that is, let's say we go ahead and create our stream signal. And this is going to be a signal of the same kind of union here. So we're using the signal, writable signal from Angular. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and say that the initial value, because signals always need a value, the initial value of this is undefined, which is kind of lying to TypeScript, right? That like undefined is a valid value here, but we're not actually going to send this signal until we get the first value from the stream. And so what needs to happen here is we're going to set the stream signal to an object that has the value that we just got from the stream. And then we need to resolve this promise with the stream signal. And I think that's pretty much it.